of Nigerians are not really happy about the casting of Children of Blood and Bone.
This is what I wanted, okay? This is the pastels, and this is what I got.
And before I go ahead to explain some of the reasons why, let me first give you the background story. Tomi Adeyemi is an American writer born of Nigerian parents, and they are of the Yoruba tribe. She wrote her book, Children of Blood and Bone, and it's like a trilogy. After that one, there's another one, and they're like in 3 parts. Take note that when this story was written, a lot of people were saying it's about the legacy of Orisha. Mind you, Orisha is a deity that belongs to the Yorubas. And after all these things, people read the story, and even when they read the story, a lot of Nigerians still found something wrong with the story, because they were like, it didn't align with the Nigerian culture. Like, there are lots of mistakes in it. But then a lot of people are saying, oh, this is just a fantasy.
If you had gone to Goodreads, you'd have seen the reviews from Nigerians about the book. A lot of people came out and talked about that book. But all of you, as in the ones that enjoyed the books, you people called us haters. So I don't understand why all of a sudden people are mad about the cast.
Fast forward, this is 2025. She decided that they were going to do an open casting for this movie.
Want to be in a big Hollywood production? Good, because now you can. Paramount Pictures is turning my #1 New York Times bestselling Hugo Award-winning novel, Children of Blood and Bone, into a movie, and we are holding an open call to cast some designers. Now, because this book is based in Nigerian spirituality and mythology, we are especially looking for Nigerians to submit. But I won't be mad if you submit anyway.
Mind you, lots of Nigerians were expecting, okay, since the characters in the book, many of them were Nigerian, then the cast should be Nigerian. But here's what happened. She made a video and revealed the cast of the movie adaptation of her book, and then people realized that she was using mostly Hollywood American actors. And then, of course, Nigerians were, should I say pissed? No, let me use the word disappointed. Nigerians were so disappointed that they couldn't see Nigerians playing the main role of the movie. And they were not even expecting that someone who isn't dark-skinned will play the main character. And mind you, I haven't read the book, but a lot of people who have read the book said that the main character was depicted as a very dark-skinned lady. And that is exactly one of the things people were using to mock her. Like, she was being discriminated against because of her dark skin color. And then now, when the casting has been done, they can't see no black skin lady. Nigerians are just like, we don't get. And this has made a lot of Nigerians to realize that most things that have to do with Nigerian culture and media, as long as it's being produced by the Western world, like by Hollywood, other Western media, they usually do not like to use Nigerians. And it's not just Nigerians. As long as it's an African character, they do not like to use African actors, because we have very good African actors that they can use, but they do not like to use them. They would rather use Hollywood actors to portray that character. And I think this case has actually made a lot of people to start thinking deeply about this thing, because this is not really the first time things like this are happening. Like, you watch a Hollywood movie and you would see someone they claim is Nigerian, the person doesn't have the accent. Or you see someone they said is Kenyan, the person doesn't have the accent. The person can't even pretend to have the accent or even try to study the accent. Like, they just use some accents that feel like it is forced.
Tell Bob I want to fly to the funeral in business class. I cannot grieve in economy.
They do not even know that specific countries have specific accents, and even within those countries, different tribes have different accents. See, this aspect of accent, as long as it's an African accent, they do not care. But why a lot of people seem disappointed is that they expected more from someone who is of African descent, from someone who is Nigerian herself, even though she is American, but she has Nigerian parents. So people were expecting better from her, and people just couldn't believe that after the open casting, Nigerians were literally almost nowhere to be found, especially in the lead roles. Like, this made people to really think deeper. And then there are people who have come out to say, oh, what were you expecting from a book that did not even align with Nigerian culture?
Everybody's complaining about the cast of Children of Blood and Bone. Baby, I knew that book series was unserious when I saw that it was based on Yoruba culture and Yoruba mythology, and the main character's name starts with Z. Where do you see Z in the Yoruba language? You can't even give your characters Yoruba names. But you want me to believe that you're serious about your story?
Book that has so many mistakes, so many misinterpretation of the Yoruba culture. They were busy eating jollof rice and okra. And if you're Nigerian, you know that That's not necessarily a cultural food mixture. But then there are those people who say, oh, it happens in Brazil. The Yorubas in Brazil eat it. And then there are those who are saying that her Yoruba mythology book is not necessarily for the Yorubas in Nigeria, it's for the Yorubas in Brazil. Probably they're right, because I don't think I've seen videos about Yorubas in Brazil complaining about the book the same way the Yorubas and Nigerians are complaining. But here's the thing, when a lot of Nigerian Yorubas heard that, oh, it's actually meant for Yorubas in Brazil, they were like, that does not seem right. Why did she then use names of places in Nigeria? In fact, she even wrote that snow was falling in Ilorin, and people were like, how the hell will snow fall in Ilorin? Like, that is just like portraying something that does not even exist in Nigeria. It doesn't even snow in Jos. Jos is even the coldest city in Nigeria, and it doesn't snow there. So how the hell is it snowing in Ilorin? So people are like, what is happening now is the fact that a lot of people try to profit of African culture without even giving any form of benefits to Africans. And a lot of people are saying they are so disappointed. So she's doing the exact same thing people who aren't Africans do to Africans, and she sees nothing wrong with it. There are lots of things that can be said about this issue, but in my own opinion, I think we shouldn't forget that she is American, and a lot of Africans, or should I say Nigerians, that go abroad and have lived their whole life abroad, they refer to themselves more as, you know, American. It is even in recent times that they have started being proud of being African or Nigerian or Kenyan, but in the past they don't even want anything to do with Africa or associate with Africa. I don't know whether when they go over there they feel like, oh, Africa is not what I'm trying to associate myself with at the moment. And don't forget that this lady has spent most of her life in the US. So she does not even know much about the culture. I can now understand why some of the things she wrote in her book might not really align with what is naturally true about what goes on in Nigeria, or should I say Nigerian culture, because she really doesn't know much about Nigerian culture. Then a lot of people have seen her interviews and they were like, she doesn't even know how to pronounce some of the Nigerian names properly. And that's to show you that, well, like I said, she doesn't know much about the culture, considering the fact that she didn't grow up in Nigeria. Another thing that I would like to say about this is we are not the target audience. Like, Nigerians are not the target audience. When that movie was being casted, they had in mind that this movie is meant for the American audience, not just Americans, others who aren't Nigerians, because literally the only people that would take offense to this is Nigerians. And that is because when we see the movie casting and everything, and maybe when the actors start acting with their Americanized so-called African accent, to be like, but this is not African accent, and this is not Nigerian accent, this Nigerian speaks like this. If not for that, lots of people, even Africans, our fellow Africans, might watch it and not see anything wrong with it, because lots of them have not been to Nigeria. They do not know what is going on in Nigeria. They do not know how true the events in the story are. So they will just watch it and they will enjoy it as long as the storyline is nice and makes sense. Where I'm actually disappointed in this whole thing is the fact that there was actually an open casting, but Nigerians were literally almost nowhere to be found.
When it comes to black films, specifically black African films, I'm used to being disappointed. I'm used to not being surprised by the casting. If I read a dark-skinned character in a book, I expect to see someone's Zendaya shade playing it. You know what I mean? I'm used to it. What's disappointing about Children of Blood and Bones casting is that the author was so loud. She was shouting that she was going to cast people from Nigeria. She was shouting that open casting this, open casting that, new faces, fresh faces. So why do I open up the casting list and I see Amanda Sternberg? Why do I open up the casting list and I see Viola Davis?
It's almost as if they just did the open casting just, to give people hope. And I think that is where all this problem started, because it kind of gave Nigerians hope that, oh, these names are Nigerian names, the scene is in Nigeria, so, we stand a chance to actually be casted in this movie. And then when the cast came out and they saw that, oh, Nigerians are not even in the main characters, we're like, oh wow, that's so disappointing. Another thing I think people forget is that this is not reality, it is a fantasy book.
The truth is that this isn't a historical account of Nigeria. This is the argument we always bring up when the white people then cast people of color for previous roles that they weren't in. This is not a historical account of Nigeria or Nigerian culture. It is inspired by Nigerian culture. Now, could she have done a better job of trying to honor that? Yes, but it is a fantasy story at the end of the day. It is a made-up world.
Before I forget, let me just add one more thing. She's out to make her money. She's not necessarily out to please anybody. she might not even be the one sponsoring the movie, so she's playing along with whoever is sponsoring the movie. And honestly, from a business standpoint, you can see that they're out to make money. They're making use of top actors who are actually good in what they do, just not good enough when it comes to portraying Nigerian accents, Nigerian languages, culture, and African culture in general. But these actors will definitely make them money in this field. She will just do what she feels will get her money. But even at that, why do they have to use someone who is not dark-skinned to play a dark-skinned character? Well, besides Nigerians, the rest of the world seems to be happy, and the only thing they are bothered about is the fact that they say there is some form of misrepresentation of what the characters in the book actually look like.
You're telling me in this year of 2025, when I can go to the opticians whenever I like, that Damson and Amandla are siblings. Same mother, same father, two of them in the same house. Retain small sense. Secondly, structurally, this makes no sense from the story. There are times where for your own bigotry and bias and colorism, and yes, indeed, in some cases, racism, you can remove a dark-skinned character from a story and put a lighter-skinned one there to make yourself feel a little bit more comfortable. And it works. The story still carries through. One of her driving motivations is the fact that her mother treats her poorly because she's so dark-skinned. So much so that she runs away. And as she runs away, it becomes one of the inciting events of the novel. One of the inciting events, might I add, that kicks off about 2,000 pages of mythology and fantasy.
Yeah. What do you guys think about this whole thing? Do you think Nigerians are right to be disappointed? Or do you think Nigerians are just being delusional and, have no right to be sad or disappointed about this whole thing?